So as we're getting closer to finishing our van build, my next project is to start working on some things to make the van a little prettier, a little cozier, a little more maybe splash of color because we've got so much white and black in the van right now. So I found this artwork at the thrift store for $2. It had white text on it that said, "I love you, Bushel Peck." I have been painting over this. I'm going to try to convert it to something that'll work well for our van. So what I did, I started with this bright teal color first, and it wasn't covering the white letters very well. So after doing that, I mixed some teal with some black, and that's what's left over. If you can see here, this darker teal color. So I did a couple coats here, kind of tried to leave it light so there's like a mix of colors. It's not just one opaque flat color. Then I used this paint sample that's from Home Depot that a neighbor actually gave me. That's aqua color, which is actually perfect for the van. It matches some things we already have. And what I did, some of the lettering, like when you held this kind of sideways, you could see the lettering had been a little rough, raised, and you could see it from a certain angle. I should have probably sanded it all first, but I didn't. So I used this paint, which is kind of thick and goopy and old, and I used it kind of thick to cover up some of those letters, and I think it's working pretty well. And now I'm gonna go over this and finish it more, try to cover this a little more evenly, but leave some texture behind to kind of make it look weathered that matches the look of the van that we already have. And then I'm gonna put some text on there. So you have to wait and see what that is and see how it turns out. So if you follow along on our build and adventures, you know that Steve and I are all about keeping our costs down. So that's what I'm doing here. If you'll see, most people would probably throw this paint out. It's pretty dry, but I can get some use out of it still. So here goes. And here is where I think Steve should cue the music for one of my favorite build songs. If you've been following along, you've heard it before. I like it for when I start getting creative.
Ich lieg auf meiner Wiese und ich schaue in den Himmel. Ich schließe meine Augen und ich lausche den Vögeln. Der wunderschöne Duft, der durch meine Nase geht. Eine leichte Brise Wind, die gerade vorbei weht. Genau das brauche ich, um meine Traumwelt zu sinken. Einfach fallen lassen und an nichts mehr denken. Denn in meinem Traum entstehen so viele schöne Sachen. Seifenblasen bringen mich zum Lachen. Alles ist unkompliziert und leicht. Alles geht schon wieder. Fast von allein, so entspannend. Kann ein Tagtraum sein. Loslassen und...
Alright, and with that, I think I have it ready for the lettering. So if you're not confident doing lettering on artwork, I have a few different tricks and tips that you can try. First, what I do is I actually come up with a layout with Photoshop. I found this text somewhere and just put it on top of a picture that I already took of the picture frame and background here. And then what I do one way is on my tablet, I can actually enlarge this text so it's about the same size that it should be on the painting. And I'm simply going to put paper over it and trace very carefully. Now the screen does move around a little bit, so you have to be careful. But it gives you a starting point to help figure out the layout for your artwork and your lettering. I actually put the paper over my tablet, I lightly traced the word B, and then I went back over it with the pencil exactly where I want it on the artwork. So now I'm going to finish doing that for the word still. So here the words are all traced out on the paper. And next I'm going to work on transferring those letters to the wood. Our kitty girl has come to supervise or provide moral support or play. What are you doing? So I cut out some of the letters on the top just to give me a starting point for transferring these onto the painting. So I can actually start like just tracing the top of these letters. And then I think I'm confident enough to go in and kind of finish by hand the rest of the letters. But if you don't feel confident doing that, a couple things you could do. If the wood's soft enough that you're working with, you could actually take a pen or something, with a hard tip and trace the letters. Usually if you do it hard enough, when you take the paper off, it leaves like an indentation that you can then trace over with your pencil and then fill in with paint. Or you could actually cut out what you've drawn here completely and just use it as a stencil. So I'm going to start with this and see if I can just do it by hand, and I'll show you how it turns out.
Ich tauche ein und ich tauche wieder auf. Ich atme ein und ich atme wieder aus. Kopf hoch, ja und Kopf runter. Einmal durchschütteln und ich bin wieder munter. Ich träume jeden Tag meinen Tagtraum, wie ich dort oben sitze auf meinem Apfelbaum. Dieser Duft, diese Liebe, ja diese Musik, dieses Träumen ist einfach reinste Magie. Ich träume jeden Tag meinen Tagtraum, wie ich dort oben sitze auf meinem Apfelbaum. Dieser Duft, diese Liebe, ja diese Musik, dieses Träumen ist einfach reinste Magie.
Alright, and now I have it traced out and I'm going to start to paint.
Verlasse den Alltag, tauchen meine Gedanken ein, wenig träumen, wieder frische Kraft tanken. Stell mir vor, die Sonnenstrahlen auf meiner Haut, wie die Eisdecke im Frühling auftaut. Die ersten Blumen ihre Köpfe rausstrecken, diese Farben, das Lachen an was Positives denken. Nein, Träumen sind keine Grenzen gesetzt, in meinem Kopf geht es hin und her, ich feiere ein Fest. Ich bin ein Tagträumer in fliedergrauen Welt, hab Mut zur Fantasie, ja, alles auf den Kopf stellen.
Hi guys, last night I made some progress with this sign. I got almost the first coat of paint done. I had to stop when my hand started getting cramped up. So I'm back at it again. I thought I would take a little bit of time just to share kind of the process I go through to decide what I'm going to do for decorations in a space to give something more personality. With the van, it's just small space. There's not a lot of room to add things, artwork or decorations or things like that. So I've been trying to take some time to really think through what we want to do. My ideas have kind of evolved over time. But one of the things I do is I start with a Pinterest board and, just start keeping track of ideas that I have, artwork, things that I like, or, things that are kind of inspiring or match our theme. With our van, I've been trying to do kind of like a nautical type theme, which isn't very apparent because we don't have a lot of stuff in there, but we do have some touches that have a nautical feel. And one of the designs that Steve and I had been considering for the van was to do something like this. Adventure awaits. So once I narrow down the options to a couple that I like, I do a mock-up in Photoshop. What I did here is I actually took a picture of the sign and then I photoshopped on some of the text that I had found that I like. So here was the first option that I considered. So here's the Be Still mock-up, and one of the things I liked about this design was the curve of these lines here. They remind me a little bit of ocean waves, and I thought that kind of fit nicely in with the theme that I'm going for, that nautical, beachy, kind of tropical feel that kind of incorporates the ocean, which we love so much, in the beach where we live, and we kind of we'll take that with us when we do some traveling and always have it in the van with us. So something like Adventure Awaits would definitely make sense for the van since we like adventure and that just fits, what we do. But Steve and I talked and we decided that we really want to do something that is more meaningful to us, that has some significant meaning, and that would also be a good reminder for us. So that's how I decided on this Be Still. The story behind that is over the last few months, it's been kind of difficult for us. We've both felt a little overwhelmed, and it's just been tough with the loss in our family that we've had with Steve's dad passing, my dad having terminal cancer, kind of feeling discouraged and having self-imposed deadlines for our YouTube channel and trying to grow that, and then just everything else with life. I personally just started really feeling a sense of disquiet and kind of feeling restless and just this overwhelming kind of sense of frustration and chaos kind of inside, which is not normal. So I really kind of felt convicted lately that I just needed to step back and slow down. And I started, again, spending more time, especially in the morning, but all throughout the day, stopping, taking time to be quiet, to pray, to have devotions. So recently I've started reading a podcast. Yes, reading. I don't like to listen to podcasts because I like to actually kind of slow down and think more about what I'm reading. So I'm reading a podcast that's called How to Have a Quiet Heart. And I'll put the link down below. But kind of taking that time and reading different things and reading that helped me realize that I really just needed to stop, to be still, to not be stressed out, and really trust God in a lot of stuff that's going on, because it's been so overwhelming. I was trying to accomplish so much myself, and I realized it's just like I was a hamster in a wheel, just spinning and spinning and going nowhere. And just making some of those changes, kind of thinking about how actually my thoughts, like how I think, and refocusing has made a big difference. So for me personally, it's really important to have that reminder in our van to just be still. And it also applies because when we travel, it's usually a really fast pace because we want to see so much in a short amount of time. So it's a good reminder for us to slow down, be still, enjoy the beauty that's around us. And I think it's just really important. So I don't know if you can relate to that or not, but I just want to share why I decided to do this versus the adventure awaits, and maybe we'll incorporate that into another spot of the van. But right now, this first piece of artwork for the van, I really wanted to have it have that meaning. So when we hang it up in the van and we'll see it, we'll hopefully remember, and it can be something that is a good thing going forward. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to work. I'm going to do the second coat of the paint here, and hopefully that'll finish this project. My furry assistant is here on the job site. And for the first time ever working on artwork, I realized that I need glasses, that it's easier to finish the thin lines and see the edges instead of straining my eyes. So I must be getting old. Once again, Gray has come to supervise. So basically now I am just filling in any spots that are kind of light, and there's a few places where I didn't quite get to the edge of where I had drawn, so I'm just trying to go back over, make sure everything's dark and that the edges are all smooth. Kind of just takes some patience and a steady hand, which I don't always have, so sometimes I mess up a little bit, but overall I think it's okay. The other thing I've done in the past, if you don't feel like painting and you don't feel as confident with the brush, is you could also use permanent marker. I've done some other projects around our house that were with permanent marker, and it actually I think looks okay. Here's the inspector. What do you think, Gray? What do you think? Well, it's finally time to hang my sign. I think I painted this several months ago now, and the last time you saw us was also probably a week ago. We're back at it, and I have my lovely assistant with us for this project.
Hi, I'm Steve, Audra's lovely assistant.
We're going to use these command strips, which I've heard work really well. I actually went and bought a pack and then realized somehow we had some already, so that's what we're going to use today. And the reason why I'm doing this is I didn't really want to use screws and have this rattling around when we drove. I thought this would kind of keep it more secure when we're on the road, and then easier to take off I'm not really worried about damaging anything, but in the future it's supposed to be good for not damaging things. Looks like it, oh great, it peeled some of that stick off. Hopefully these aren't too old. I don't know where they came from. See it? Huh. Alright, let's see if it works. You ready for this? Let's see how it looks. Alright, so we're gonna put it right there. And does it look straight?
Maybe up a little bit on the left.
Gosh, it's hard to tell. Does that look good?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if we should have put some down here too. It's gonna rattle.
All right, so what's the over-under, guys? I say under 10 miles before that falls off.
Seriously?
I don't know.
It's...
I've been wrong
It
before.
looks pretty secure. It's just, it rattles down here. So I either need to just put something here to keep it from rattling, or we just need to put 2 more up. I don't like that it rattles. But I think it's secure. I don't think that's going to fall off. I say we just wait and see. If we drive and it makes noise, then we do something at the bottom. But I don't think it's going to fall off. So how do you think it looks? Let us know.
Next week, we're back at it. It's now a race, a very slow race to the finish line. We're finally wrapping up this van build that has been a labor of love for over 2 years. Thanks so much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.